And today there was new reporting from NBC News detailing how White House advisors managed Trump's delicate information bubble, briefing him about the war. Here's what it says, quote, "Each day since the start of the war in Iran, U.S. military officials compile a video update for Donald Trump that shows video of the biggest, most successful strikes on Iranian targets over the previous 48 hours. And that's according to 3 current U.S. officials and 1 former official who spoke to NBC News. The daily montage typically runs for about 2 minutes, sometimes longer. One official described each daily video as a series of clips of stuff blowing up. Stuff blowing up. So just to put a fine point on this, Trump's national security advisor's approach to briefing the president on this war is basically the same way a busy parent might approach entertaining a cranky little toddler. Just give the baby an iPad with lots of flashing lights and big booms and hope it keeps his attention. Now, this is especially galling given the presidential daily briefing, or the PDB, is typically, under every other president, the time when they are presented with non-political, unbiased intelligence information that is put together overnight by a team of experts from across the government. Literally, the best in the government are assigned to put this together. And it is typically a time when the president can press his top advisors on his national security team, including about the most difficult global issues of the day, like, say, a war he may have started. But that is clearly not happening here. Now, NBC News notes that this daily highlight reel isn't the only briefing Trump gets about the war, okay? But we also know that getting Trump to actually absorb and comprehend critical intelligence has been a long-standing challenge for almost a decade now. This is not a new thing. I mean, in his first administration, Trump regularly skipped his daily intelligence briefing, one of the most important updates, of course, a president receives each day. And Trump's aides had to essentially trick him into reading other important briefings, dumbing things down into single-page memos with lots of pictures. At one point, the National Security Council even started strategically including Trump's name in as many paragraphs as possible because he would only keep reading if the documents talked about him. When Trump's second administration began, Trump's advisors even reportedly floated the idea of creating a video version of his daily intelligence brief that was, quote, made to look and feel like a Fox News broadcast. So now the president's briefing has been dumbed down so much that he's reportedly getting updates on his most consequential military decision using what is essentially a highlight reel of stuff blowing up. That's where we are. That's the information that he's getting. Well, we don't know exactly what those videos show. We do have a window into this administration's visual sensibilities because, after all, this is the same administration that has been littering the internet with absolutely insane propaganda videos. You can see a bunch of them on your screen there. Splicing together footage of U.S. military strikes with clips of sports, video games, and movies featuring everything from Call of Duty to SpongeBob SquarePants. Videos that a White House spokesperson once referred to as banger memes. But it's not just the format of Trump's briefing videos that is so concerning. It's what Trump is and is not getting out of them. I mean, the officials who spoke to NBC News say that Trump's video briefing, quote, is fueling concerns about among some of Trump's allies, that he may not be receiving or absorbing the complete picture of the war. And they have good reason to think that. Because since this war began, there have been multiple occasions that Trump has seemed totally oblivious about what is happening and why it's happening. I mean, Trump repeatedly insisted that nobody knew Iran would respond to American strikes by attacking their neighbors in the region. A claim so baffling that everyone from congressional Democrats to Fox News hosts have been wondering how the president could possibly have been so uninformed.
So they hit Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait. Nobody expected that. We were shocked.
And yet the president says nobody knew. And my question is, did you tell him? Anybody want to answer that question?
They weren't supposed to go after all these other countries in the Middle East.
Are you surprised that nobody briefed you ahead of time that might be their retaliation?
Nobody, no. The greatest experts, nobody thought they were going to hit.
The fact that Iran is going to strike other countries in the region, we spent a lot on this. Why didn't they anticipate this and inform the president of those facts?
Unexpectedly, they started sending missiles to UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, and elsewhere. And nobody thought they were going to. Were you equally surprised by that, Pete?
Were you equally surprised by that, Pete? I love how he just throws him under the bus at any opportunity. Of course, two intelligence officials told Reuters that Trump was briefed on the risk that Iran would attack Gulf countries, but somehow that warning didn't seem to sink in. Maybe it didn't make the highlight reel. Maybe that's where we have to blame. Again, NBC News is reporting that those briefings are fueling concerns that Trump is not getting a complete picture of this war, which also may explain why he keeps saying things like this.
We've won. Let me tell you, we've won. You know, you never like to say too early you won. We won. We won the bet. In the first hour, it was over.
We've already won in many ways.
We've already won.
Oh, I think we've won.
You know, I don't like to say this. We've won this. This war has been won.
I mean, you definitely like to say this. That's clear. We just played you saying it a million times. Trump says we've won. He said it over and over again. The war is over. Obviously, that's not true. But that's an idea you might have if your main source of information for this war is effectively an Instagram reel. There's so much evidence that Trump is out of touch with the reality of the situation. I mean, just yesterday we learned that Trump reportedly sent the Iranians a 15-point plan to end the war. He's repeatedly said that the Iranians are ready to make a deal, and he even boasted that the Iranians had sent him an expensive mystery present as a gesture of goodwill. He really liked that present, talked about it a lot yesterday. But today, not only did Iran reject that 15-point peace deal, but they accused the U.S. of, quote, negotiating with itself. Sick burn there, Iranians, I guess. And they said they had no intention of holding talks with the U.S. And then they laid out 5 of their own demands for ending this war, demands that are diametrically opposed to Trump's own terms for ending the war, things like full sanctions relief, compensation for war damages, and total control of the Strait of Hormuz. According to Trump, the negotiations are going great. Now, we don't know if Iran will hold to those demands. We don't know if they really are refusing to negotiate through back channels. We cannot take anything that the Iranian regime says at face value. But then again, we can't take anything the president of this country says at face value either. Not when he's stuck in his own fantasy about how this war is going. And when the internal process for navigating a war appears to be editing together banger video montages of things blowing up for the commander-in-chief while he continues to operate in his own la-la land about how things are going. Put senior national security officials in an incredibly awkward position when they are still tasked with things like, say, briefing members of Congress on the objectives for the war, our strategy for achieving them, and a timeline for how long it will take, and whether men and women are going to be sent, more of them, to fight a war that has not been explained. And that all played out today when Pentagon officials gave a closed-door briefing on Operation Epic Fury to members of the House and Senate Armed Services Committees. That briefing was classified, but the reaction we got from lawmakers kind of tells you everything you need to know. Because even Republicans came out of this Epic Fury briefing with some epic passive aggression. Here was Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace's reaction. Here's what she said, quote, "Just walked out of a House Armed Services briefing on Iran. Let me repeat, I will not support troops on the ground in Iran, even more so after this briefing." And it wasn't just Republican gadflies like Nancy Mace who walked out of that meeting so upset. Congressman Mike Rogers, the chair of the House Armed Services Committee, is generally considered one of the more serious national security voices in the circus that is the Republican Party. And here's what he said.
We want to know more about what's going on and what the options are and why they're being considered, and we're just not getting enough answers. We just wanted them to tell us what's the plan, and we didn't get any answers. Repeatedly, we're having these folks sent over here to basically tell us very little. And that's not okay. We need them to be more forthcoming about what's going on because we're an essential partner in this process.
Again, that wasn't a left-wing peacenik. That was Mike Rogers, the top Republican on the House Armed Services Committee. Reporters then asked the top Republican on the Senate Armed Services Committee, Roger Wicker, if he agreed with those comments. His response was, quote, "Let me put it this way. I can see why he might have said that." There we go. Nobody has a real sense of where this war is going. That's what you heard from his comments. The winner of the inaugural America First Award seems blissfully unaware of what is actually going on. And now even Republicans in Congress are losing their patience.